Hi, I'm Janice Perkins. And this weekend, I was watching the Peloton. I was watching the Tour de France, and I realized that chemistry is alive in the Peloton. It's such a beautiful example when you watch the riders. At first glance, you see just this pack and this horde of riders together, but you're watching a system that's learned how to reduce its drag. So they travel together because of aerodynamics, but riding in that close formation, they expend less energy, they move faster, and they can sustain a pace that would be impossible by themselves. So I want to relate this back to chemistry because chemistry is always available, remember, whenever two or more people are present. And it's something we create out of, it seems like thin air, but it's not. It emerges when the conditions are just right. So I call those conditions the gates of chemistry. And I want to explain to you how the Peloton showcases a few of those gates. One is the orientation gate. And this one is my favorite. It is more than a shared goal, and it's the strongest example in the Peloton. People often confuse a shared goal with shared orientation. It's not the same thing. Everyone in the Tour de France wants to win. Every team wants to cross the finish line first. That common goal alone doesn't create chemistry. What creates chemistry is a shared orientation toward how they move together. So every rider is constantly paying attention to the movement of everyone else. They're reading each other and adjusting and anticipating and choosing a collective rhythm over one individual preference. Chemistry begins when people stop asking, "What am I doing?" and begin asking, "Where are we going to go together?" The next gate that the Peloton shows is agency. Everyone has chosen to be there. No one drifts into a Peloton. Everyone chooses it. Every rider is ready and willing to be a part of that pack. And what sacrifice and deposits are necessary in order to be a part of it. Every rider understands their decisions that affect everyone else around them. That's agency. Chemistry doesn't happen because people are just physically together. It happens because they're mentally, emotionally engaged in the same work. The next gate that the Peloton shows is containment. Freedom needs boundaries. At first glance, the Peloton seems fluid and free flowing, but underneath that fluidity is structure. There are understood rules, predictable movements, respect for the space of one another. If not, tremendous crashes take place. One careless move can bring down dozens of riders and cause injury and knock people out of the race. So the containment isn't restrictive. It what make trust in the movements possible. The clearest boundaries often create the greatest freedom. Legitimacy is present in the Peloton. No one spends the race questioning whether another rider belongs or deserves to be there. By the time you've reached the Tour de France, your legitimacy has been established. It's understood. Imagine how much energy organizations waste asking people to continually prove themselves instead of just allowing them to contribute. They've already shown up, they've made the cut. Chemistry goes much faster when legitimacy is assumed rather than having to be constantly earned. Dignity. The dignity gate shows up because every role in the Peloton matters. What I love most about the Tour de France is that not everyone has the same job on each individual team and in the Peloton itself. Some riders protect, some conserve energy, some carry supplies, some lead, some sacrifice their own chances so other riders have theirs. Every role matters. There's a mutual respect that recognizes contribution, not just the visibility. That is the dignity gate. People don't need identical roles to experience chemistry. They need to know that their role matters. And two of my favorite roles that are showcased well in the Peloton is something that is reflected into executive teams. They're the people that naturally become the carriers. They take the wind, right? The headwinds in particular. They absorb pressure. They quietly make it easier for everyone else to perform. And then there are also pacers. They establish the rhythm. They know when to accelerate and when to calm the group down and bring the energy back down. They create momentum without demanding attention. And what I love about pacers is pacers don't have to be out front like a traditional pace car. In the Peloton, the pacer can be internal within the group, the drum beat, the one that's setting the rhythm internally. Most organizations celebrate the person that crosses the finish line or the person they see out in front that could be the carrier. But far few organizations or leaders recognize the people who made the finish possible. But chemistry always showcases this. There's an invisible force within the Peloton made up of the emergence of chemistry through one of these gates and through these roles of being pacers and carriers. The Peloton is fast because it's collective. It has a shared orientation and a readiness, boundaries, legitimacy, and mutual respect. Small adjustments on behalf of one another. The same thing about the Peloton and that drag against resistance and tension happens in leadership. But what chemistry reduces is relational drag. So, what if the friction in teams isn't a lack of talent, strategy, or effort, but it is an invisible interpersonal resistance that exists between people that chemistry can release? When ego, distrust, or confusion or uncertainty exist, there's a constant drag on the relationship. But my research has led me to believe that chemistry doesn't simply make relationships feel better, it reduces the relational drag that keeps people from reaching their full potential. And so maybe that's the challenge for leaders here is not asking why your team is aligned, but to start asking whether the conditions for chemistry are there to emerge. Because then people just start moving together.